Good morning, children. Today I am going to start with the next lesson, not lesson number 3, but lesson number 4, solids, liquids, and gases. As you all know, that there are so many amazing things around us, like sun, moon, stars, buildings, doors, windows, air, water, plants, animals. All these things are made up of some material, some substance. What are all these materials made up of? Now, these things are also made up of something. And what is that material called? We call it matter. Now, matter is what? It is a substance or anything that has weight, or we can also say mass, and occupies space. Occupies means takes space. Now it can be anything. If we talk about a solid, suppose you take a book, then that book is also a matter. Why? Because that book has some weight and it takes up some space. If you take your hair, even the single strand of your hair has some mass and it also takes some space. That's why all together, when all the hair we take them together, then they have weight and they are taking some space. So all solids, liquids and gases, they take some space and they have some mass. There are 3 forms of matter: solid, liquid and gas. First, let us study about solid. In a solid, suppose you take an example, some marbles. These marbles, if you put them in a glass or empty jar, glass jar, and you fill that glass jar with all the marbles, then you see that the marbles do not move on their own. They are packed close to each other. So, the molecules in solid are also arranged close to each other. That means they are very tightly packed. We can call them molecules, or we can also say particles. Suppose you hold. So, solids are hard and they cannot be easily pressed. Molecules in solids are tightly packed. Tightly packed means they are very close to each other and there is very little space between them. The force of attraction between these molecules is also very strong. Force of attraction means they are attracted, these molecules, these particles are attracted to each other very strongly. That is why the solid has a definite shape. Definite means fixed shape. For example, the shape of a book stays same whether you put it into a bag or you place it on a table. The shape doesn't change. You see any solid, until and unless you don't apply some force, the shape will not change on its own. For example, if you take your eraser or a sponge, then its shape can change when you press it, when you use little force. On its own, a solid never changes its shape. So we say that a solid has a fixed shape. Now the next is liquids. Molecules in a liquid are less tightly packed than that of in solids. The molecules have more space between them. The force of attraction between the molecule is also not very strong. So these molecules move here and there. That is why a liquid can flow. But these molecules or particles do not move out of their place. That means they do not leave their container. Suppose you put water in a glass. On its own, the water will not fly or will not come out. The water will remain inside the glass. Only when you pour it into another container, it will move into another container. So these liquids can be poured from one container to another, and they take the shape of the container into which they are being poured. So liquids have no fixed shape. The next is gases. Now if you light an incense stick means agarbatti. What happens? Have you seen the smoke coming out of it? The smoke can easily move, and it gets filled in the whole room. Or if you spray a room freshener or a perfume, then also the smell, you can smell it. This happens because the smoke or that spray doesn't remain at one place. The particles of gas move around freely. They can move around freely. They don't remain at one place like in a solid or in a liquid. They are free to move anywhere. Smoke is a gas. So molecules in gas are loosely packed. The force with which the molecules or these particles are joined to each other is very, very weak. So these molecules move around and they take the space which is available to them. So in gases, there is no fixed shape like in a liquid. So what we have learned today is about solid, liquid and gases. I'm just going to tell you the difference between them, that in a solid they have fixed shape, liquids do not have fixed shape, and gases also do not have fixed shape. The solid cannot flow like liquid. The liquids can flow and the gases can also flow because the particles can move anywhere. Okay, so this much all for today. Thank you.